There we go. Right, I'm not a Zoom expert, by the way, so if all goes belly up, just stay there, because it's probably me that's made the mistake, so don't go anywhere. I'll get my techie to sort it out. Okay, so I'm going to mute you all now. I'll probably mute myself. All right, mute all. Yeah, there we go. All right, lovely. So hopefully you can still hear me. Thumbs up if you can. Great, brilliant. This is a free show, and this is about the fourth one I've done during these awful lockdown times. Of course, we'd much rather be in the forest, wouldn't we? And in the woods, doing a bit of real life tracking and wildlife watching and that. Yeah, the reason I'm doing this is just to offer this to you, but also because it is free. You're not going to get away with a little bit of marketing as usual. And this marketing comes in the form of the book that I've said that I'd do in the first lockdown. I don't think everybody believed me that I'd started a book. Well, I have, and guess what? It's nearly done. Yeah, really. It's going to be published hopefully before the end of the year. Oh, hang on, I've got Tom Lewis coming in. It's going to be on Apple Publications first, so it's not going to be a print version until later on in 2021, maybe in the spring. It's a lot more work to do a print version. The Apple publication version, if you've got an iPad, it will work on there, and I'll probably show you a little bit in a minute. It works on there and it's fantastic. It really looks good. But also, I'm putting it online on Basecamp. I'm going to make it a course. I'll talk to you about this, some of you previously who came on one of my talks previously. It's now absolutely everything is up there, a few more tweaks, and we're going to launch it as a course. It's going to be called the Master Tracker. Not saying that you'll be a Master Tracker by the end of it, but it'll put you on the path to being a Master Tracker. It's from beginning foundations to quite advanced levels of tracking. And people who have been on the courses, you'll know how in depth we do go in tracking on our series of 3 courses, the 3 weekends. So that's quite exciting for me. I'm going to show you what it looks like. First of all, on the program, on the online program, just going to press the old share screen thing. Okay, hopefully you can see a pretty background there. And let's have a look at there. Now, can you see Master Tracker on the left-hand side? Yeah, great, thank you there. So this is it. The whole of the book is online. It is going to be a program, so that means there'll be not just the content online with loads of videos and things like that, but you'll have online classrooms. You'll be one-to-one with myself whenever you want to. So it's like a completely interactive program. There's course administration area or the general bump. There's going to be the tracker classroom, which is going to be a Zoom content, a load of stuff there, a glossary, resources. Then we're going to start into the bones of the actual course, introduction to tracking. Now, there are little modules. You can take your time however long you can or however long you want to doing this. You've got fundamentals of tracking, and each area is broken down into little lessons. It's all manageable. You're looking at the speed of the forest there. Then when you want to, you press next, go on to the next part of it. And if you want to stop there, when you come back to that lesson, it will tell you where you've left off and where you can resume to the next bit. Okay, so there's like lots of illustrations. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I do this stuff for the fire investigation, for the fire service. So it's not that I don't know what I'm doing on these. Obviously, it's a completely different thing, but you know, online learning is online learning, and if they're quite pleased with it, then I'm happy as well. So it goes on. Yeah, it's a full program. It's not just a couple of little lessons. It is a full program. Got little journey entries that I've made over the years. I put on there, and they're all examples of what I've done, and it links to the lessons as well. Okay, So I'm really, really, excited about this. Some of these, like the reason I'm recording this is that will go on there as well. So it just reinforces the learning to, have a little talk or a PowerPoint presentation or something like that. It just goes on, and there's a lot of work there. Truly, I didn't realize. If you want to, you can take the tasks, you can do the assignments, and that progresses and develops your learning as well as you go. Aging tracks and signs, yeah, it just keeps going. And here's our bit here, the sensors and Fieldcraft, which I've already written there. There's assignments at the end, so you can develop your tracking there. You'll pay a basic price, one-off price. I'm not too sure how much it is. It's not going to be more than 200 quid. But also there's the consolidate your learning by coming to us in the forest, Alfred Forest in Essex, and you can consolidate your learning there with us during a weekend. One weekend in May and the other weekend in October, but they're optional. You don't have to do it. The obvious benefits of this, you can do it in your own time, and you can do all the tasks in your own environment. So it's a proper online course, okay? Just a quick look at the actual book. This is what the book's going to be like. Much of the same type of thing, but obviously it's more in book form than it is more interactive, okay? But still, it's slightly interactive because we've got an interactive galleries here, as opposed to a print version. I wouldn't be able to get as many print pictures or tracks and signs pictures in a book. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at there. Okay, exciting stuff. If you're interested in one or the other, let me know. Yeah, let me know. And I'll probably reiterate a little bit about that later on. Right, that's it. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, no, I've got a job to do now, haven't I? Yeah, right, okay. Let's get cracking with, I'm getting quite used to this, aren't I? There you go, sensors and Fieldcraft. I love this subject because, hang on, I've got to get to the slideshow a bit. Play from the start, that will help, won't it? Right, we've done that bit. Oh, by the way, let's just go back to that. Hatfield Forest courses, we've been in talks with the National Trust. They're not doing any courses this year, which is why we've had to cancel our autumn courses. But in the spring, hopefully, subject to this stupid virus being here or not being here, they're going to open up again properly for people to come and do the courses. So we should be able to open up again in spring. So look out for that. We've penciled in April for the immersion course, and 2 weeks after that for the forest tracker. So those of you who haven't done the forest tracker, which is the last in our series of 3, and I know there are a few people waiting, then we will be doing that and finishing off your little program there. Okay, so that's I'll let you know as soon as we know about that. Okay then, let's have a look at the sensors and Fieldcraft. Gosh, it's already getting late. Right then, what is Fieldcraft and why is it linked to sensors? Well, Fieldcraft is the skill of getting closer to wildlife without being detected. In military terms, and some of you might have heard the term Fieldcraft from the military say it's about operating in the field. It's about feeding yourself in the field, it's about shelter, it's about hygiene, and obviously it's about remaining undetected from the enemy. We all know that as bushcraft. That's how we live in the woods. It's outdoor living to us. It's knowing how to make best use of natural resources. It's being able to build a shelter, sorry. It's about knowing how to hygienically look after yourself. But of course, it's remaining undetected if you want to go and look at wildlife. So the closer you get, the more you have to employ Fieldcraft to remain undetected. To do that, you have to use your senses, okay? And your knowledge of your senses and the knowledge of the senses that the wildlife have equals fieldcraft. So it's knowledge of that equals fieldcraft, okay? And just as that little slide says, you can't have one without the other. You can't employ fieldcraft until you know what you've got yourself and what the wildlife have got. Okay, us versus them equals fieldcraft, right? Now, what I'm going to explain to you in the next sort of half an hour or so is firstly, you've got to imagine that you are not hiding from people. Okay, this is wildlife. If you're hiding from people, it's a whole different ball game because it's our senses against their senses. So enemy senses human against our senses. We're on that parallel. But as you'll find out, that parallel, no, there isn't a parallel. It's like a balanced scales. Okay, and we're down here and they're up there. They have got much better senses, wildlife, than we have. But we've got to use this. It's our brain which helps us improve our chances of remaining undetected. Okay, so the more we know about our senses, the more we know about their senses, we can make that balance a little bit better. Okay, and that's what fieldcraft is all about. If you're looking at it, and I wish I could show you outside, but obviously I can't, so I've done this little plan. It's from the book. Yeah. This is the strategy which we're going to revisit a bit later on. Okay, we're at A there. I've got a little pointer here. There we go. You see a little red pointer? Ah, lovely, great. Little red pointer there. That's us. That is our target, if you like. I'll say a quarry. You're not necessarily you're going to go and shoot it. You're going to look at it. You're going to photograph it. You're going to get closer to it for observation. Whatever your reasons for getting closer to this animal, okay, this is why we want to improve. We want to get closer to it. Okay, so instead of just walking through there, we have a look at the wind direction and a load of other different things. If we go straight from A to E there, we're going to get spooked. We're going to get found out. We're not going to remain undetected. Okay, so it's about planning your route. It's about making up a strategy based on these senses, which I'm going to go through. So, as I say, we're not hiding from humans. We're hiding or remaining undetected from deer, fox, whatever it is we're tracking. Okay, now just think, we've spent an awful lot potentially of time and effort getting to this point. Now we want to get closer by tracking, by all this. We found our tracks. We're actually being able to observe that animal. We want to get closer. If we just start bowling up to it, it's going to spook, it's going to disappear, and all that time has been wasted. Okay, so you don't want to give the game away at this point. Okay. So I say it's about knowing about yourself and it's knowing about them. These are our 5 senses. These are primary senses. We know there are other senses like balance and stuff like that, but we're going to concentrate on these main senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. We're going to go through them one by one. Okay. To translate that into fieldcraft terms, the military call it the 5 S's. We've gone further. A free gift. We've gone another 3. So we've got the 8 S's, okay? If you've got a pencil, you might want to write these down, but I'll reiterate it at the end. If you can remember these 8 S's, don't go and get a pencil. Oh, they've gone now. I'll lend you one. All right, here you go. He's back, great. If you can remember these 8 S's and sort of go through it in your mind even before you start tracking, even before you start going into the woods, you'll get into that mindset of, yeah, that's what I've got to do. Because it's not just at that last moment that you start to employ fieldcraft. It starts way, way before then. And hopefully that will come to some sort of common sense when we go through it. So here's our 8 S's. Shape, silhouette, shine, stare. These are all to do with sight, that first sense that we've got. So we spend quite a lot of time on sight. Going on, speed, silence, scent, and spotted. And we're going to go through each of those in quite a lot of depth. Okay, so stand by. Here we go. Okay, the first one, sight. I think you might agree that sight is probably, most probably, our biggest asset. Yep, you might agree, you might not agree. Compared to them, you think, oh, actually, the animal's sight is fantastic. It's not. It's not. Our sight, our sense of sight has made us what we are, together with our brains. We have got fantastic vision. We can see in 3 colors. Most mammals, apart from the primary apes, can see only in 2 colors. Yeah, so that's the first thing. That means that all they can see is blue, yellow, gray and black, all that. We can see in this wonderful, fantastic, multicolored world. Yeah, that's a benefit. That's a huge benefit. That's made us what we are. That's made us differentiate between a ripe berry and an unripe berry, which helped evolve us. It brought us down the trees and all that. Okay, so that helped us evolve. Yeah, when we started walking on 2 feet, these eyes made us see in the distance, so we'll be able to see things further and look at danger further. So that obviously helped evolve us as well. We can see for miles, literally. You know, if it's big enough, we can see the horizon. We can see specks of light millions of miles away. We can see not round like that, but we can see in that sort of angle. I can't remember exactly how far it is, but it's not bad. We've got 2 of these, yeah? And the reason we've got 2 is we can focus, we can target, yeah? We've made hunting tools to kill things. That helped us evolve as well, because the more meat we ate, the proteins in the meat help develop our brains as well. Okay, so that's starting to get, that's, sight is our main thing. Depth of field, targeting, vision, yeah? That all helped us. And that's why it's such a benefit for us. We can see shapes quite well, but as we'll see in a minute, they can see shapes as well. So our sight is quite phenomenal. They can't see so well. Predators, by the way, we're not predators, we're hunter-gatherers. We started life as hunter-gatherers, and we're basically hunters. We're not top predators because we don't ambush things. Okay, we don't run up to it and ambush it like a fox or a wolf. We're not predators, we are hunters. Okay, but also the predators have got very good vision as well. They can target, but they can only target in short focus. Yeah, they can't see long distance. They can only see short areas. But they've got hunter points, depth of field as well. That's why they can pounce on things. That's why they can jump on things. That's why they can ambush things very well. You know, you've seen a fox jump up in the snow and push right down again. That's their sight, their hearing working, and their sight as well. Okay, but they haven't got long distance good vision. I think in Wind of the Willows and things like that, badgers are depicted of having specks because they really can't see. They're all short-sighted. Okay, all short-sighted. Prey animals, it's a different matter. Yeah, they can't focus very well, but they've got eyes on the sides of their heads there, so they can see in their periphery. They can see almost backwards. I think that's about 270-degree vision. Rabbits even further back. You can't creep up on the rabbit unless you're right behind it. Okay, their peripheral vision is fantastic, and they can spot movement well because their periphery vision is very good as well. You see things like you can see things from the corner of your eye. Yes, the periphery working. It detects movement better than in the front. That's why at night we should start using, or we do use our periphery much more because it's a defensive mechanism. It's not a daytime mechanism. I'll go through some sort of talking about night in a minute as well. In fact, let's do it now. At night, that all changes. We go from seeing in 3 colors back to seeing in 2 colors. Okay, we can't see very well at all. Our cones, which are responsible for all this wonderful daytime vision, they stop working, and our rods take over. And there's more rods than there are cones, and they're working harder. Okay, it opens up our periphery, which is a primitive defense mechanism, so that we can almost detect things coming behind us, if you like. But we shouldn't be out anyway, because we should be in the cave, and that's why we get this fear of the dark. We've got to shelter up, we've got to snug down, we've got to go to our cave. We don't want to be out there, because in those days, even in Britain, there was wolves, there was bears, there was lynx, there was rhinoceroses and everything like that. You know, it's a wicked place. You didn't want that. You just didn't want that. So that's why we had to, that's where I think one of our fear of dark comes from. Okay, we can improve that. We can look, if we are tracking at night, by going with the flow. Instead of trying to target, we can open up our periphery and not look target at things, but look to one side. So we can use that to our advantage when we are walking around at night, but you've got to slow down, obviously. Okay then, so at night it all changes. We are at a disadvantage, and they have a particular one other advantage. They can still see in two colors, but they have what's called a tabetum lucidum, which is at the back of their retina, and it picks up all the available light and reflects it back out again, so they can see much better than we can in the dark. And that tabetum lucidum is, if you shine a torch and it picks up the eye shine of a mammal, that's what that is. It's the light shining back on the tabetum lucidum. Okay, so every land-based mammal has got that tabetum, except for the higher primates like us. Okay, so we're at a disadvantage, and they are at the advantage. Especially these prey animals you can see around. You know, creeping up on a deer at night, forget it, forget it. So also, with another bit to our advantage, we've got the rods which are working hard, and there's a kind of like a chemical reaction going on, a biological chemical reaction, and that is the rhodopsins are working in the rods, and that gives us our night vision. But you've got to wait 30 or 40 minutes for that to work. And of course, you shine a white torch, it bleaches it all out, and you've got to start all over again. So that's why, if you come on one of our courses in the forest, we do not like white light, apart from in an emergency. Stick to red light, or even better, green light. There's trackers thing. The guys, I see you nodding your heads there. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm maybe preaching to the converted a little bit there. So yeah, you can see how important the senses are, and especially sight. Great for us, not so great for them. You think, it's easy. This fieldcraft, creeping up on animals, is easy. We've got this fantastic vision, but we haven't. Okay, so let's go on a little bit further and talk about our first S, which is shape. All right, this is where a few surprises might come. Shape. It's our outline, the hunter's outline, bearing in mind that we've been hunting these things for thousands and tens of thousands of years. They know our shape. What we've got to do is cover up our shape. Particularly prey animals, they pick up on shapes so easily because it's unusual, it's different. Deer will go around the woods, they'll be taking little snapshots, like little photographs everywhere, going round and round the woods, day in, day night, day out, maybe one day, one way, depending on the wind direction, taking snapshots. Yeah, that's fine. Browse, graze, bang, that's different. That shape is something unusual. I'm not happy about that shape, and that's when they start being on the alert. And that shape is us, invariably. Okay, so that's when they start going, I'm on alert, I'm going to flee, or I'm not going to flee, I'm not happy about it. So our shape, we must conceal. That's the first thing. The big thing about camo, okay, the camo does not hide your shape. It hides, or it disrupts the pattern inside the shape, but we still got the shape. So camo is expensive, okay, and you don't need it. Really, you don't. Okay, buy it if you like, that's fine. Doesn't do you any harm, but if you're trying to disguise your shape, camo isn't the answer. Remember that these animals can only see in two colors, and the brown, black, and green, they're all in the same kind of spectrum. So all they're going to see is a sort of a darky, whitey blob anyway. So it doesn't disguise your shape. So forget about camo. All these leafy ghillie suits, yes, it does disguise your shape a little bit, but as as a lot of people who've worn these ghillie suits, they're sweaty, they're awful things, and you're hauling half the woods with you because they get caught up on the twigs and the leaves and stuff like that. So it's up to you if you want to go that far and buy a quite expensive ghillie suit. My advice for anyone is get a netted face veil, cheap as chips from the old surplus stores. Chuck it over your head. It camouflages your face, and I'll go on to the face, the grease on the face and the whiteness of the skin, and also the shape. It covers your shape a little bit here as well. So if you're going to buy anything equipment, then think about a netted face veil. But more than anything else, use the natural environment. Plan your route. If you're looking at a load of trees, like birch trees like that, then you're not going to start laying down and crawling, are you? You're going to be standing up. If there's a lot of logs fallen, you're not going to be standing up, you're going to be laying down. If there's a ditch, you'll be going along the ditch. You'll be using the natural environment to hide your shape. Okay, this is where it gets a little bit serious. You might have to get a little bit muddy. So it doesn't really matter, does it? I've seen so many people hiding behind the tree, like, oh, there's a deer there. They poke their head out of it like that. Oh, look, there's a deer. Yeah, there's your shape there. Yeah, the deer's going to look up and go, whoa, who's that? Okay, if you're going to do anything, hide in front of the tree. Yeah, if you've got reasonably sort of camouflage and you put your face veil on there, then you will be absolutely blended in with that tree, standing in front of it, not behind it. Okay, these are kind of obvious type things. Only move when the animal's distracted. Don't try and move when it's looking about. You see a herd of deer, they go, some of their heads are up while the other ones are down. You know, they're not stupid. They're not stupid, but you've got to pick your time and choose your strategy. How are you going to do it? The closer you get generally to an animal, the lower then you should go, because they will detect that big shape coming towards them. Okay, but you can do that. See, just stand sideways. Honestly, you don't have to go crawling around a place. Just stand sideways. That will hide your shape. Okay. Oh, great stuff. There he is. Okay, here's our little chappy here, and fallen log. He's just stuck his head up, and he's got all the most expensive camo in the world. Lovely face veil there. Costs about £5,000 from Deer Hunter. Totally useless. Yeah, absolutely useless. Ah, that's a bit better. Now you can't see his £5,000 Deer Hunter camouflage, can you? Because where is he? Don't know. There he is there. Okay, he's actually laying down in front of the fallen log. He's not upright, he's laying down. He's got a good view of everything. He's nice and relaxed, and he can observe what's going on there. Okay, just an example there. We're still on sight. Let's look at silhouette. Shape and silhouette go hand in hand. This is our second S, by the way. Okay. Again, the best way to get around this is natural cover. Okay, but what is silhouette anyway? It could be silhouette against the skyline, which is what we obviously think is a silhouette, moving against the skyline, and animals can pick this up because it's movement. Yeah, deer, particularly badgers, can pick up that movement really, really well. And if you are highlighted against the skyline, they'll go up. I ain't going to come out again. Badgers will come out, they'll go back down again, then they come back up again, they'll look around, they'll sniff the air. If they see a shape, bang, they're back down again. They won't come out, I can assure you that. I've been there. But there is a way around that. Ah, here we go. There is a way around that, and that is by putting a backpack. where you're going to be watching your badger from in the next couple of weeks. Put a backpack down there, walk away until the badgers get used to that new shape. Doesn't have to be on the skyline. It could be somewhere against a tree. They'll get used to it, and slowly, after a week or so, put yourself where that backpack was, and they'll be much happier with that. So it's a little tip when badger watching there. I tried so many times in my younger days when I was trying to watch badger, and I just couldn't understand why they wouldn't come out. That's why it was that shape. No matter how well camouflaged you were, it's that shape. But you can also be silhouetted against the background, not on the skyline, and against the background. Here's the one about on the horizon, quite an obvious one. They don't know, by the way, they don't know that they are walking on the horizon and silhouetted against the skyline, but they can certainly detect that we can. So here's what I mean by a background in the forest. It's a silhouette against the light and the dark of the woods. Okay, we've got the dark of the woods here and the light a little bit further on. And here's our little tracking person here, hopefully wanting to see some wildlife. Not bad. In the bit of the shade there, it's not highlighted or silhouetted against the background of the lighter part of the woods. But here he is. That's just an example there. If I was an animal or a deer looking at that person there, that would be I'd be gone. Okay, so just bear in mind where you've come from and where you're going to. Okay, use the shadows. Yeah, it's that contrast which could be a silhouette. Okay, so far, brilliant. We're doing well. We're doing well. Shine. I think this is the third. As for shine, not much in nature shines, and it's more important for the military, human against human. You know, they say in the military, these guys in the military, you know, that like shiny mess tins, shine from a watch, shine from glasses, binoculars, all that sort of thing. They've got to take that into consideration. For wildlife, it doesn't matter that much about shine, but as I say there, not much in nature shines. But again, it's that contrast against the natural environment that they will pick up on. And that contrast is you're putting your head down. I've got shine there, and hey, oh, blimey, I have as well. I've got shine there. It's that constantly looking down and up. It's like a torch. For white-skinned people, it is that white skin. But everybody, even black people, have got that greasiness. We can't help it. We're human. We've got that greasiness, and that shines out as well. And that's the bit that spooks the wildlife. It's the back of the hands. So if you're going to stop the shining on anything, then you want to dull down your face and dull down any exposed skin as well. Okay. How do you do that? Ash, charcoal, mud. Okay, if you want to get serious. If you don't want to get serious, then don't bother. But yeah, you have to do these things if you want a good chance of getting close to wildlife. Clothes shine, especially new clothes. Roll on the floor, take that shine away. Roll on the forest floor. It will help cover the scent a little bit of the human. It'll also, like, we call it fluffing up. It's just rolling in the woods, doing a little bit of swimming in the woods. Those of you who've done on the courses, I've got some really good photographs of you guys rolling around there. And we'll put it on YouTube later on. Pete, you didn't do that? Oh, no. It's a good job you're on mute, because I'm sure you're swearing at me there. Okay, yeah, but seriously, you know, the clothes, they shine. And I'll get onto clothes a little bit more later on as well, because they stink. Anyway, ultraviolet, yeah, that shines. Washing powder, washing powder or washing liquid, they contain brightness. If they're advertised as brightness, they'll have ultraviolet in there. Deer see in the bluer spectrum. So you'll be walking around the woods like bright ultraviolet, and you say, well, why aren't I seeing any wildlife? Okay, so that's why. I don't bring my outdoor clothes indoors at all for a whole year. Um, yeah, no. If I do have to wash them, I'll just wash them in water, and that's it. And then they go back outside again. So if you bring them inside, you get that smell. But also when you're looking at shine in this respect, if you wash them in any washing powder, then that contains brightness. Okay, forget it. Game over. Now we're talking about colours. As we said, camo's okay. It won't do the job that you really think it should do, but it's okay. It's ground, sort of groundish, earthy colours. Fair enough. Black. Black is a moving shadow. Yeah, so that you will be detected if you wear black. I'm talking all black, like urban military black. Yeah, so avoid black. Red, I love it. These Americans and especially we've got a place in France, and the old French hunters, they go around like, there's nobody French is anyway. It's a very very bad example of the French language. They're like, oh, we're going to get to it. They do all this the hunting with dogs. It's awful, really, because they hunt the animal down to exhaustion, and then they pop up and shoot it, and they think it's really clever. I don't think it's really clever at all. Anybody can do that, but they go around with all these all this fantastic camo on, and by law they've got to have a fluorescent orange vest on, and you think, yeah, really, yeah. But it doesn't matter to the deer whether that's orange or any other color apart from blue, because they don't recognize that as red. They don't recognize the camo underneath it, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the deer. Blue, as I just said, that alerts deer. The blue is in there. That's their spectrum area. Blue. Reindeer take it one step further, and they can see in almost ultraviolet. And they do that because, I wish I could open it and say, why do you think that is? That's the unfortunate thing about these online presentations. Why do you think that is? It's so that the black of the wolf, the predators, can be seen against the snow easier. So they've got to see in that sort of that spectrum. Okay, so there's a reason for that. But take that back a little bit, and blue does alert deer. I go, I'm not happy about that. Birds can see in 3 colors. Some insects can see in 3 or 4 colors. Bees can also see in ultraviolet, because in some of the plants, it's like a runway, so they know where to come in. It's not a great thing in the middle of summer to wear something yellow, because you just get absolutely smothered. So what I'm saying here, that think before you dress. Keep the earth colored colors. There's just one other thing about white. White is a warning anywhere in the world, but particularly in Africa, you're told not to wear white because that is a threat. It's a warning, and it's a threat as well. So you're best not to wear any white stuff at all. Not that you probably would in the woods, but certainly not in Africa. Okay, so that's a note about colours. Stare. Now, this is our last sight. And you think, stare, what's all that about? Have you ever got the feeling that someone's staring at you from behind, and you actually turn around and there actually is? It's that kind of sixth sense, and we can get into 5 senses. There is sixth sense. Possibly there is, and we've done experiments in the woods to prove that there is something more. I won't give the game away, but you have to come on one of the courses to find that out. But there is something else there, definitely. If we get that sense that someone's staring at us, what do you think the wildlife feel if you stare at them? Okay, we do this other thing around a campfire, and it's always somebody, isn't there, Pete, who nods off like that, and I stop the conversation and point to that person, and everybody stares at him and they go like that. And again, it's quite funny, but it's a primitive defense mechanism, that stare. There's something in our brain that says, oh, someone's staring at me, on threat. It's a threat. Okay. If you stare at an animal, look it in the eye. You've probably done it with your dog. it's that fight or flight. It'll start growling or it'll back away. Deer don't growl, obviously, but they will get threatened by that. So they're not too sure what that is. I'm going to spook and I'll go. So the worst thing you can do is actually eye to eye, particularly with this deer that I'm looking at here. So just be aware of that. Use the periphery, look to one side of it. Don't target stare because it thinks, well, I'm dead. You know, I'm looking at this human's looking at me. The next thing is no, I'm gonna have something flying at me. And bearing in mind for people who are photographers out there as well, that camera, that huge great camera lens that you spent so much money on because you can't get close to the wildlife, that's also like a great big eye. So just be aware of that, point it to one side, come up for your shot and then back down again. I'm not a camera expert, but you know, that's what you should be doing technically. Okay. Oh, right, okay. It's a good time for me to have a drink, and I'd like you to, I'm just going to play a very, very short video. The reason I play this is not to show how clever I am or anything like that, but it's just when everything absolutely goes right. The wind's in the right direction. I can tell you that I wasn't having any I didn't try again. I wasn't wearing any camouflage clothing. I wasn't hiding. I was following this muntjac trail, and this thing just jumped out. So it's not that. But I want you to see the reaction of the muntjac when I'm chilled out, I'm zoned in, I'm not looking as a threat to that muntjac, I'm not staring at it, I'm doing all the fieldcraft things which I've talked about, and I am going to talk about. Yes, I was a bit lucky, but have a look as well. Also, have a look at when the muntjac eventually does go away, the white, yeah, the flick of the tail. It's a danger, or is it? Is it a danger? No, it's not. Still not too sure. Okay, have a look. There's no sound to this. Okay, cool. Eh? Three things there. Three things that I hoped you notice. If not, I'll tell you about it. The nose, the scent, yeah, licking the nose, try and get that nasal gland, if you like, as wet as possible, so you can get the best possible. Is it a threat? Who is it? What is it? Yeah, the nose, the ears, yeah, going 19 to the dozen. What is it? What is it? What is it? Yeah, that's another sense that we're going to have a look at in a moment. But also this sense, speed and vibration. You might have noticed it stamping its foot there. Okay, that's to do with vibration, not so much that speed, but it's to do with the vibration, which I'm going to talk about next. So there's an awful lot going on there, quite apart from the fact that I was pretty close, and yeah, it was just a lucky day for me there. So let's get on to our fifth S, which is speed and touch. Yeah, speed and touch. Now we're looking at touch as a sense. You probably think, well, it's not really that valuable when you're tracking or in wildlife, because we don't touch. If we're close enough to touch the animal, then we've done our job, surely. But it's more than that. We can touch things and get that temperature for deer couches. I'm pleased I brought that up because I'd forgotten. Okay, that touch for deer couches. When you're tracking at night, you can feel the compression shapes. Frederick Burnham of Big Pal with Baden Powell, his mate, allegedly tracked at night through feeling the tracks of the insurgencies in the Boer War. Then he basically ran back, called in the artillery, if you like, the cavalry, and they went out and smashed up the Matabele tribes, because he found their camps by tracking at night when they were all asleep in there, in whatever they slept in. So Burnham he was one of the first proper, true, wonderful for white trackers. Taught Baden-Powell everything he knows, although Baden-Powell was pretty good himself. But Burnham actually was offered the Victoria Cross. He was an American. He was offered the Victoria Cross from, I think, must have been Queen Victoria then, and he actually declined it because he wouldn't take British citizenship. So he said, no, I want to go back home, which he did, and founded the scouting school in America, where the Boys Brigade, I think it is, something like that. Okay, then, so back here, vibration, touch. This is what I'm on about. This is what I mean by touch, our sense of touch. For animal, it's a vibration. It's a communication system. It's a threat. It's to communicate a threat. You saw that muntjac stamping down on the ground. Yeah, there's no other muntjacs there. But just how far does that go on the woodland floor? I don't know, but it must go miles and miles. It's like the deep frequency of whales, deep frequency of elephants, and elephants can go really on a low frequency, and that is that feel, it's that vibration that goes to the forest floor or whatever floor it is. Vibraci, a way of detecting vibration in animals. It's not just the whiskers of cats and dogs here. They've got whiskers on their heels, on their paws, between the pads, on the back of their necks, on their elbows. They've got vibraci everywhere. If you looked at a fox and sort of like enlarged those whiskers, it'll be like antennas sticking out everywhere. That's how they detect vibration. It's something that we don't really know anything about. But as sure as eggs is eggs, if we stomp about the woodland floor, then they're going to detect that. So we've got to walk a little bit more gentle. As I say, elephant crickets rubbing their legs together. It's that vibration. And spiders know when there's a spider from their own species coming through the web. That vibration, they know not to attack it. Barefoot in the forest. If you're going to do any experiment on touch and vibration, then walk through the forest without any shoes on. Yeah, obviously do a little risk, but you know, it is that connectivity with the forest floor. And again, we do this in the forest, don't we, Pete? It's a lovely. So there might be other people who do. I can only see 4 people on there. I can only see Pete. So yeah, we do this experiment, and it is grounding, and you realise that's a sense that we don't use. We should use it a little bit more. It's really good. Balance as well. When we start moving slowly, we topple over because we go at 100 miles an hour everywhere. We're here, there, everywhere, multitasking, doing this, that, and the other. We're rushing everywhere. And I say, when we're in the forest, when we're tracking, you need to cut your speed in half, and then half it again. But that comes at a cost. And that cost is that we lose our balance. And as we're slowly creeping up, stalking up to our deer or our animal, we start to lose our balance and we topple over. But we can practice that. Yeah, we can practice the proprioception is a sort of like another sense, quite a higher sense, where it's the ability to adjust in the muscles as to where we are in time and space, sort of thing. It's the way that the micro muscles move and the joints move. But you can practice that. Stand on one leg, stand on the other leg, close one eye, close 2 eyes. If you close 2 eyes and stand on your weak leg, you will fall over until you get that sense of balance back, and you can practice that. Try it. Try it in the morning when you clean your teeth. Stand on one leg. Yeah. Stand on the other leg. Close both eyes, then close both eyes on the other leg, and you'll end up going like that, and you'll get some really strange looks from your family as well. What are you doing, Dad? Oh, I'm just standing on it, just practicing my proprioception. Go on, off you go. Okay, there's some silly walking styles out there. There really are. If you look at, I won't mention the author, but you know, the old fox walk. You're walking through the forest like this, pretending you're a fox. No, you don't need that. If you're going to walk through the forest, you've got to glide. Now, don't do the heel toe, because they've got heel, toe, and you get that bouncing effect. You're trying to glide through the forest. You're putting your whole of the foot flat on the floor, okay? And just slow down, really. Don't break the speed limit of the woods. If you do, then you'll get fined, and that fine will be not getting, or you'll be detected by whatever you're following. So slow down. And that starts with when you're in the woods, when you're doing the zone in, you're getting your eyes used to, you're getting your ears used to, your hearing used to the contents of the woods, you're listening to the language of the forest, you're slowing down. Start slowing down immediately, get into the woods, and you'll start to see things you wouldn't believe. So just zone in first and slow down. How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing well. 6, scent, smell, and taste. Okay. Smell and taste. I'm going to put these two together because they're physically linked. Yeah, in us and in animals as well. But let's have a look at the scent and the smell. Artificial smells everywhere. There's pollution. There's deodorant. There's aftershave. There's the smell of our cooking, curries. Oh, lovely. I had a lovely ramen tonight. That was absolutely gorgeous. That tasted and smelled gorgeous, by the way. Yeah, lovely. But yeah, there's artificial smells everywhere. It's the animal's main communication media. Yeah, they scent mark everything. Oops. They scent mark everything, and there's a reason for that. Is that they want to communicate. For deer, they can pick up any messages that anybody's left there. They have scent glands here, and the ear, and their feet. And again, it's like the vibrissae. They have got scent glands everywhere, and so is most other mammals. As I say here, for an example, deer have 297 million scent receptors to our 5 million. Our scent isn't good. We can't smell very well at all. Yeah, but we can enhance that. We can enhance our smell by not putting deodorant on before we come to the forest, by not cleaning our teeth with all these Colgate shiny stuff, which tastes really nice. Use natural products just before you come into the woods, so you can cover up your scent. Yeah, just going back a bit, bear is that has the greatest number of scent receptors of any land-based mammal. I think shark beat that, but obviously they're in the sea. I'm not going to go tracking in the sea. As I say, they scent mark everything: feet, eyes, urine, scat, and it tells them the story. We don't know that story 100%. We don't know what they're saying, but they can bet your bottom dollar, even before we get into the forest, they know we're there. We know they know who we are, possibly even down to that individual. So, you know, we're on the loser right from the start. So what else can we do? The longer they're in the woods, the better, because we get that smell off us a little bit. We'll always smell like humans, because that scent is a combination of our skin falling off and blowing away on the wind. Okay, that is the scent of the human. There's not a lot we can do about that. But we can again zone in, we can have a smoke bath, we get the smoke from the woods. Again, we can roll about on in the forest floor, to get that scent off us, to get the woodland smell on us. But our greatest asset, and this is where our brain comes in, our greatest asset of remaining undetected from the smell and the scent from the mammals and the wildlife, is to stay downwind. Yeah, that is our biggest and greatest winning strategy. Keep the wind in your face. If it's going in the other way, then you might as well give up and go home. Okay. As soon as that wind changes, that's why you've got to be so aware of the wind direction. As soon as it changes, you've got to move. If you don't move, you're a little bit lazy. No, I'm all right here. You won't be all right here. You've got to move. Okay. Scent. Taste. Animals can taste pheromones. We can't. but we used to be able to. I'm pretty sure of that. The animals, and I'm putting the line up there because this is exactly what they do. It's called the Fleming grimace. They're going, horses do it, big cats do it. And I've got a photograph of this fellow doing it. It's the Fleming grimace. He's smelling and tasting the air at the same time. This organ of Jacobson is sort of like right at the back of the back of the nose, and they're smelling the pheromones. They can tell whether it's a family member. They go, can we do that? I don't know, probably not. But let me tell you this. The organ of Jacobson is not present in adults, not present in children, but it is present in a fetus, okay? That fetus has an organ of Jacobson. When they were born, it's disappeared. So it just goes to show what we used to have compared to what we have now. And if you don't believe me, look it up, and it's absolutely true. I'm not bullshitting here. Okay, really strange. So can we, or did we have other senses previously? Don't know. Possibly did. And how enhanced were they 20,000 years ago when we were in the Metholithic era and we're that top hunter-gatherer? How enhanced were our senses? Must have been phenomenal. Okay, hearing and silence. Number 7. Hearing is probably our second best asset. We can hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, which ain't bad. It's not brilliant, is it? Most animals can hear in a greater frequency range. They can hear squeaks, but also they can hear lower frequency rumbles as well. Okay, deer, as I said before, you saw the muntjac can swivel its ears all the way around so it can listen in that side to that side. Cats and foxes have triangular ears. They can pick up high and low frequencies. Owls have offset ears so that they can pinpoint the direction of the squeak. Yeah, so you got to stay quiet. But the forest is a noisy place. Okay, don't get too het up about, oh, I've just rustled a leaf, because this fellow here, the squirrel, rustles leaves all the time. But it's that regularity which puts animals on edge. That regularity of a human. We are regular. We don't go pause. That's not us. We're not like that. We're regular. Boom, boom, to left, right, left, right. We've got to get out of that. Okay, we've got to stop thinking and doing things like a human and start acting like wildlife. Okay. Again, I keep on about this. Zone in, listen to what's going on, start to interpret what's going on in the forest, start to listen to the forest communicating with each other, find out what's going on, learn to read the signs, not just on the ground, but also what the bird behavior is, what the bird song is doing. Is it a threat? Do I need to keep still? Is it threatening me? Is this chap, the grey squirrel, going squeaking like mad, flicking its tail because it's agitated because I'm there? Who else is going to see that? Yeah, everyone in the forest. Okay, so you need to do something about it. You need to keep still. Yeah, go back to zoning in. You've got to do it. My old granddad, he used to do that. Hey, what? Hey, yeah. If you really, yeah, it acts like little radars. It does enhance the sound. Also, opening your mouth as well. Well, my granddad used to do that. Hey, I'll close your mouth, granddad. For God's sake, you're catching flies. It's not. It's actually like a guitar. You know, an acoustic guitar's got this great big hole, and its resonance. It helps. It helps you hear. So everybody to go out tomorrow, go down the street and go, so you can hear more. Will you do that for me? No, I bet you won't. But yeah, just an idea, just ideas. Okay, as I said, learn the language of the forest. The fox has 27 vocalizations. Do we know one? Yeah, I know a couple, but not 27. Bird language. Yep, there is a whole section of bird language and bird behavior in the book and on the course. Those guys who, and girls who listen to my bird language talk, I think I got a few messages that quite a few were surprised about the behavior of birds. And if you learn the language, then that'll enhance your experience, not just of tracking, but just like walking around and looking at the bird table in the garden. Lots of stuff going on there. All deer bark. Okay, well, what are they saying? What are they saying? Okay, this is the last one. Thank goodness, they say. Number 8, spotted. What do you do if you're spotted? How many times have I heard that? So I've actually put it in there. Actually, someone said, well, I can't remember who it was. Someone said, we're going to go 9, you know. I went, 9? What, 9 S's? Yeah, you can make it up to 9. We're trying desperately to make it up to 10. 9 was strategy, which we'll go on to last. So there is 9. He said, smile. Like, yeah, you're a wag, aren't you? Great. So yeah, there possibly 10. If you can remember 10, then good on you. So number 8 is spotted. Okay, what do we do? What do we do when we're spotted? If we're spotted, it's going to be a flight or fight for whatever is predator or prey. Do we keep still? Well, if you think of the baseline is movement. If we stop suddenly, that is contrary to the baseline. Not I'm saying if we spotted, then we should keep going. Maybe we shouldn't, but a lot of times that I found in my experience, if you're spotted, you go like that, and you suddenly jerk forward like that, then that's what spooks the animal up. I'm absolutely convinced of it. So if you are spotted, try not to go stop suddenly. It's just try and keep that motion just going a little bit, like the swaying of grass. It's a possibility that the animal will think that you're not a threat. If you suddenly go forward, then you could be perceived as a threat. Okay, so I don't know. Try it out yourself. But at the end of the day, are you going to run after it? Probably not. The Sam Bushman could do, because that's called perseverance hunting. They'll run down the prey animal to its death until it's absolutely exhausted. They're fit enough to do that. I'm not fit enough to. You're probably not, and we'll run out of space in this country, don't you? Yeah. Oh, we're in the next county already. We haven't got room to do that. So run after it, possibly not. If you're after deer, all deer will do is it's all about energy conservation, isn't it? For wildlife, they're not going to run too far. Deer will get up to the next higher point, stop, and look around, see if the threat's still there. So if you just keep still, sit down, maybe have a cup of tea, then that's your best way of looking at this particular thing. Predators will be off. You won't see the predators. If you're a fox, you're tracking a fox, you spot them, they'll be off. But they're inquisitive as well. I showed a video of I called a fox in and squeaked it in. Again, everything was right for me, and it came right up to me. It showed how myopic foxes are. He was like, who's that in? Who's that? And he actually circled me, and once he got my scent, he was off. But again, they're a little bit inquisitive, so they won't move off quickly until they're almost, not 100%, but they know that there is a definite threat there, and then they'll be off. So my personal strategy when I get spotted and whatever it is, scarpers, I sit down, have a cup of tea, and then start again, because that animal won't be that far. And you've got the benefit of, if you do your tracking properly, you'll know you can pick up that track and that trail pretty quickly with those active tracks that they've just been made. And not only have they just been made, they'll be forcibly put into the ground, either by a pronk or a stock from the deer, or just more deeply embedded if it's a predator. So you'll be able to pick up those tracks as opposed to all the other tracks around it, because they'll be nice and fresh, nice and deep in the ground. So you'll be able to start following up that animal again. Okay. Right then, talking of having a cup of tea. Oh, no, not quite yet. Right, back to our strategy. Okay, with what we know now, and that is S strategy, we've really got to quickly decide what we're going to do here. Are we going to go straight from A to E? Probably not. The wind's blowing straight towards the deer. We might have done everything. We might have made a smoke bath. We might have been following all our other shape, sign, and all that malarkey. But our strategy is still not very good here if we're going to go straight from A to E. Okay, I'll leave you to decide what we could do. What you don't want to do, and just think about it logically here, you know, are we going to go all the way around here, you know, against this vegetation? Yeah, we'll remain undetected, but at the end of it, when we just pop out at the top here, you know, the deer's gone and we have no idea where it is. So what we've got to do is also keep to where we can see the deer, but still remain undetected from it. Okay, so I think I give you a little, yeah, this is just an idea. It's not a definite solution, but it's probably what I might do. And bearing in mind, this is a 2D, it's not 3D, and we haven't got the, you know, the wind, we haven't got the climatic conditions or environmental conditions. We don't even know what substrate we're tracking on. So yeah, we could go around there. We've got a view from B to E to see if the animal's still there. We can creep around to C. At that point, would probably start to slow myself right down, put myself in front of the trees, start clicking away on the camera just in case it does scarper, and then try and get a little bit closer and maybe get as close as I can there. Strategy, that's probably about the ninth S there. Okay then, so if you hadn't written them down, here they are again. Think of the 8 S's. You don't have to take them in that order, but even before you get to the woods, you could do something about some of these things. Yeah, take away the shine, take away the scent, think about your shape. When you're moving through the woods, think about your silhouette, the shape, certainly about the speed, certainly about diffusing your scent by tracking downwind, and think about slowing yourself down, not staring. That's the biggest thing when you get close to an animal. You, oh God, I've done it, I've done it. And you know, that stare, even though the animal's turned away from you, staring at the back of its head, that will spook it off. So just be aware, it's just so difficult and it does take practice. Okay. Little bit tips. Finally, we're not hiding from humans. Okay. So you've got to think like your quarry. Your quarry is important. Wherever you're tracking, you've got to know that quarry inside out. There's not many in the UK environment. So you should be able to say, all right, that quarry is there. That's what it's going to do next. It's called quarry predictive tracking. Okay, think like your quarry. Enhance your senses. You can go outside right now and practice your peripheral vision. Yeah, wiggle your fingers at the sides of your periphery. Stand on, you know, improve your balance. Yeah, stop your targeting. Open your periphery. I've already said that. Go into the woods and just write down everything you hear. Not just listen, hear everything you hear, and just listen for a whole minute and just see what you can actually hear, and try and enhance it. Zone in the big thing. Okay, move like an animal as well. Okay, think like an animal, move like an animal. That's it. Hooray! Oh, it's about an hour. I did say 40 minutes now. I can't remember. So thank you very much for coming. Please feel free to give me a bell, email, something like that if you're interested in our tracking courses. Please consider the Master Tracker. The program is awesome. We're putting the finishing touches to it now. I'm having the book proofread for the last time, so it's all together. Okay, and the print version will be coming out later in the year. Think about the program. Yeah, it's definitely going to be worth it. Think about the Apple book as well to back it up. I might even chuck that in free if you come on, if you're one of the first 5 to come on the program or whatever. Okay, it's going to be awesome. You'll have that contact with me and the Woodlife instructors as well, and that consolidation weekend will be really helpful after you've gone that far down the line. Okay, I'm going to put, if I can, stop sharing. Oh, here we go. And you're back with me. I'm going to open up the room. I think you've got to unmute yourself. I think it's a new Zoom thing. But if you've got any questions or any comments or anything like that, please feel free. You've got to unmute yourself and I'm going to have a little bit of a drink. Okay.
One thing I'd notice is when an older person is speaking, they take their mask off. Or when they're listening, that's it, they take their mask off and think, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I struggle with this mask thing because I'm quite hard of hearing, which for a tracker isn't very good. But I'm not very good at hearing anyway, and I have to wear hearing aids. I've got them souped up as well. I've got the I've got the nurse's soup. I can't hear the birds. What? Yeah. But I struggle because I can actually lip read a little bit, and I didn't realise how much I relied on lip reading, because somebody was they took their mask off. But yeah, you're right as well. Toby, yeah, nice to see you, Toby. Thanks for the question. Anybody else? Any other comments, questions?
So I agree with the comment about masks. I was sure that I could hear less well with a mask on. So I was delighted when you said it. It does actually confirm something I thought I'd noticed.
Yeah, you want to get to the doctors because I reckon that you might be a bit hard of hearing. Not being funny, but you might be. No, honestly. People put their mask on, I can't hear. It's not because you're speaking, it's because you can't hear visual stuff. But it just shows you how, the senses, it's, that visual sense of lip reading, even if you go back to what we were saying, you take one sense away, and all the others start to be enhanced, which is another experiment that we do in the woods. We take one sense away and give you almost like enhance another one. And it's surprising how quickly people readapt to that, even in a short space of time. But yeah, it's, you hear these stories about people who've lost their sight and they've got fantastic hearing, and the senses do adapt a little bit. So good point. Yeah, cheers, David. Hello, Tom. Oops. Yes, mate.
You talked before about having a sort of something simple like a mesh sort of scrim or netting that you can hide behind. If you were going out for a sort of a day's tracking, as well as something like that, what else would you sort of pack in your day bag, your pockets, to take with you when you're going on a day out?
Well, apart from the usual, survival malarkey stuff.
More specific to tracking.
Yeah, I'd certainly take something that I could measure, because I like taking pictures of the tracks. Because you can't spend a lot of time when you are tracking taking individual prints unless you're really slowing yourself down. But yeah, just to throw something down there and take a picture of it, like a ruler. But yeah, most definitely use that. A green torch is always good, even during the day, because you get a little bit confused and think, oh, no, I'm not too sure whether that is an active track. And when I was talking about colours before, night vision, I mentioned red torches and green torches. The disadvantage of a red torch is that it's very, very limited. The frequency is, it's very, very long. Blue is very, very short, but the red is all the other way around. But anyway, what I'm saying is that green is right in the middle of our spectrum, right in the middle. That's why we can see so many green things. How many shades of green can we see? And that green torch also throws a lot of shadows. And that's what tracking is all about. Is like if you're looking at the individual tracks, it's the identification of the tracks by the light being throwing a contrast or a shadow which picks up the tracks. So sometimes, especially when the sun's in the wrong position, I get a green torch and go, oh yeah, there it is. There's actually two there instead of one. So yeah, if anything, I'd take that and some sort of measuring device, ruler or something like that. Otherwise, you don't need anything really. Mars bar.
Thanks.
Snickers.
Thank you. That's brilliant.
Cheers. Okay. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you. Yeah, great stuff. Tom's one of our mentor instructors. Yeah, I'll be talking to you a bit later on, my friend. I've got a little job for you. Okay, we're not going to do this to death. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the guys and girls on Eventbrite. Please look me up. pablo@woodlife.co.uk. If you want to drop me a message, my email or anything like that. Otherwise, I wish you well. Please stay safe, stay in, and happy tracking when you do get out, and enjoy the wildlife, because that's probably about the best medicine that you'll get. So everybody, thank you very much for coming, and see you next time. Right, you can go now. Bye. Go on. See you later.